A man known as Clean works as a garbage collector, cleaning up the streets of a high-crime neighborhood every day. He scavenges old equipment and spare parts from dumpsters, storing them in the trunk of his old car, and reflects on a dark past he can never escape. He visits a landfill to feed a stray dog. Clean often attends group therapy sessions, where lost souls share their tragic stories. Returning to his small workshop where he now lives, he prepares a hearty meal and gives it to his neighbor, Diana. After losing her parents, Diana lives with her elderly grandmother. Grateful for his help, Diana gifts Clean a handmade bracelet. In his workshop, Clean repairs salvaged equipment and sells it to the same pawn shop every time. With the money he earns, he buys building materials to renovate abandoned houses nearby, hoping to restore the street to its former beauty. Clean's life flows steadily and quietly, day after day. But at night, he wakes up crying, haunted by memories of his deceased daughter, whom he raised alone. During the day, Clean visits a barber he's known for a long time. The barber, noticing his client's usual silence and gloom, advises him to make peace with his past before it consumes him entirely. Meanwhile, Gangster Michael waits outside a prison for his son, who is being released that day. Mikey exits the gates and jumps into a car with his friends, ignoring his father. When a mobster henchman tries to intervene, Michael orders him to leave his son alone. In the evening, Clean collects trash outside Michael's restaurant. He notices several armed men overseeing the unloading of a truck carrying mysterious boxes. That night, Clean has a horrific nightmare about his past. Awakening in tears, he mourns over his daughter's photo. Unable to sleep, he decides to tinker with his car engine. The next day, Clean drives Diana to school since the school bus no longer comes to their neighborhood. During the ride, Diana wonders why Clean is always alone and avoids letting anyone into his life. Meanwhile, Michael's restaurant business is a front. Inside a shipment of fish from China, the gangster receives a load of drugs. When the count reveals 5 missing packages out of 200, Michael flies into a rage. His son dismisses the issue as trivial, but Michael sternly warns him that letting small things slide leads to losing everything. Clean repairs and paints a bicycle for his daughter and leaves it as a gift outside Diana's house. Her grandmother, Ethel, steps out and asks why he keeps helping her granddaughter. While Ethel believes Clean is a good man, he doesn't think so himself. Visiting the barber again, Clean sadly recalls teaching his daughter to ride a bike. Michael's henchmen divide the drugs into doses and quickly sell them through dealers on the neighborhood streets. Mikey counts the money collected from couriers, and soon another shipment arrives. Furious over discrepancies, Michael grabs a hammer and brutally kills one of the Chinese escorts in front of his terrified colleagues and Mikey. He warns them to count their goods better and orders his son to clean up the mess. Later that evening, Clean collects trash at the gangster's restaurant. He notices that some of the fish boxes are soaked in blood. Michael approaches and tries to bribe Clean with a few bills to keep quiet, but Clean declines and drives away. One day, Clean's car breaks down on his way to work. While he works on the problem, a group of people runs past him, chasing someone. Turning a corner, Clean sees thugs viciously beating a man. Clean wakes up in a hospital, where doctors stitch up his head and offer strong medication, which he immediately refuses. The doctor is surprised he's alive, noting that many of his old wounds were life-threatening. At work, Clean is forced to take time off due to his severe head injury. He prepares lunch for Diana and asks about school, which she finds boring. Curious, she decides to peek into one of Clean's mysterious boxes. Meanwhile, Michael is furious that his son spends time with street thugs instead of learning the family business. He berates Mikey, reminding him that those gangsters only associate with him because of his father's control over the neighborhood. Mikey storms out in anger and runs away from home. A few days later, Clean sees Diana talking to some local thugs. He tells her it's time to go home. At first, Diana retorts that he's not her father, but eventually decides to leave with him. Clean brings a repaired amplifier to the pawn shop and shudders at the sight of large machetes on display, reminded of his dark past. At a therapy session, a former soldier shares how the ghosts of his past haunt him constantly. After the session, the soldier tells Clean he recognizes him from somewhere. While renovating the facade of an abandoned house, Clean notices a shadow in the window. Investigating inside, he finds no one but discovers a large pipe wrench in one of the rooms. One night, Clean spots Diana's bicycle outside the old house. Inside, local thugs are smoking and drinking. Diana is also there, intoxicated, and the thugs decide to take advantage of her. Clean intervenes, grabbing the wrench and brutally beating the thugs. Mikey, who happens to be there, also takes a beating. Clean takes Diana home to her grandmother, Ethel. Mikey is stitched up at the hospital and sent home. The doctor tells Michael that his son will recover, but without urgent surgery, he may never speak properly again.
Leave it. Let him remember.
Soon after, corrupt cop Frank visits Michael, showing him a video recorded by one of the thugs. The footage reveals Clean savagely attacking the group inside the house. Michael remembers the garbage collector and orders Frank to kill Ethel and Diana to make Clean suffer as he has. Realizing the danger, Clean takes Ethel and Diana out of town. A police car follows them, forcing Clean to pull over. He quickly realizes the officer works for Michael. Clean manages to escape, losing the pursuer by hiding behind a house. Frank informs Michael about Clean's attempt to flee, and Michael sends his men to search the highways. Clean, Ethel, and Diana stop at a roadside diner, where Clean steals another car while the women use the restroom. Michael's men find Clean's abandoned car near the diner and spot Ethel and Diana inside. Clean sneaks up to the gangster's car, stabbing the driver in the throat with a screwdriver and taking his hatchet. While Ethel and Diana hide behind crates, Clean storms into the diner and attacks the gangsters. He eliminates them one by one, using the hatchet to finish them off. It is revealed that Clean was once a cold-blooded hitman responsible for many deaths. His daughter, often left alone at home, became addicted to drugs and eventually died of an overdose. This tragedy drove Clean to leave his violent profession, consumed by guilt and grief. After ensuring Ethel and Diana are safe at a motel, Clean promises they will soon return home and heads back to the city. He retrieves money from a hidden stash and visits the pawn shop to purchase weapons and equipment. Using an old exhaust pipe, he crafts a makeshift silencer. When Michael learns his men at the diner were killed, he realizes Clean is far more dangerous than he appeared. Clean calls Michael, warning him that he's coming for him. Frank advises Michael to stay alert, as the police are patrolling the streets, anticipating Clean's next move. Michael gathers his best fighters at his mansion, preparing for a final showdown. Clean commandeers a garbage truck, driving it straight to Michael's mansion. Silently, he eliminates the guards outside before crashing the massive truck into the house and blowing up the transformer, plunging the mansion into darkness. Michael's men open fire on the garbage truck, but Clean is already inside, picking them off one by one. By the time the fight ends, the mansion is littered with the bodies of Michael's henchmen. Clean descends to the basement, where Michael has set a trap for him. Though caught off guard and disarmed, Clean fights Michael hand-to-hand. Despite taking heavy blows, Clean overpowers Michael and begins strangling him with a wire. At that moment, Mikey enters the room with a gun. Michael, confident of his victory, smiles, but Mikey unleashes the entire clip into his father. Turning to Clean, Mikey attempts to shoot him too, but the gun is empty. Sometime later, Diana rides her bicycle through the neighborhood, smiling as she spots Clean's garbage truck. What did you think of the film, Clean? Share your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.